Kravitz. If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing podcast, you are missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good evening, everyone. This is your host, Howard Kravitz. Yes, I am very hoarse, but I'm feeling okay other than my voice. Listen, we have a lot of Breeders' Cup shows, and I got to bring it, and it's sort of catching up to me, but I'm doing the best I can tonight. Fortunately, I have some great co-hosts to help me out. Thanks for watching the HHH Racing Podcast, as tonight we are covering Fall Championship Friday, Future Stars Friday, as it's called. 5 Breeders' Cup races to kick off the weekend, all 2-year-old juveniles. It is going to be outstanding. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. Hit the notification bell on the top right so that you know when new content will arise, and smash that like button. Ladies and gentlemen, we have had almost 25,000 views on only our Breeders' Cup shows in the last week or so. We cannot thank you enough. Our viewership has been tremendous, and we have a big show tonight. We also have 2 shows tomorrow on Wednesday. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. Time is running out, ladies and gentlemen. The Breeders' Cup Power Picks tip sheet is only available until tomorrow, Wednesday, noon Eastern. That's it. Go to our website, hhhracingpodcast.com. It's very inexpensive. It's very profitable. The response has been tremendous. Again, Breeders' Cup Power Pick tip sheet available only until tomorrow, Wednesday, noon Eastern Standard Time. Again, there's our website, hhhracingpodcast.com. Again, I greatly apologize for my voice. If you listen to the show, you know this doesn't normally sound like me. I'm going to be talking less tonight. So I'm sure, here comes the jokes, I'm sure the views are going to be 20,000 tonight because you get to hear Pete and Paul talk a lot more. I will do the best I can to give my opinions. I might actually type a lot in the chat and bring up comments from there to share my opinions. Hopefully you folks can hear me at home. But again, thank you very much. Let me bring on my great co-host, and then we have a really special guest tonight that you don't even know about if you're watching and listening, and we'll tell you about our special guest who will be coming on here in just a few minutes. But first, I have 2 very special people that are not guests. They are my co-hosts. Let's bring them on right now from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the Saratoga Special, donning his purple like me, Mr. Paul Halloran, and from the East Coast of Maryland, doing a great job. Yeoman's work last night on our live draw show as his fingers were moving quickly through the post positions, getting everything up. Let's bring him on, Mr. Pete Visco. Guys, thanks for helping me out tonight because I'm struggling.
Hi, Paul. How you doing? We're going to talk
Pete,
like this tonight.
Pete, I'm good, Pete. How you doing?
We're going to talk like the Godfather tonight, Paul.
Yes.
I got my Saratoga.
Don Pedro. How are you doing, Don Pedro?
Oh. Good to hear you, Paul. Good to see you, my man. How's it going?
Hey, Pete, our ratings are going through the roof. That's how it's going.
Oh, they're going to be coming in from off the streets now. Yeah.
No disrespect intended, but, you know.
Guys,
as Bill Parcells would say, Pete, next man up.
Next man up. That's what we do here.
I was even gargling the hot tea today, which I almost never do with honey. I heard that. I was looking on the internet, like how to, figure out a horse throat. Anyway, guys, let's jump in because we got a lot to talk about. And Paul, I'm gonna let you run the show literally for like the next 10 minutes because we have a very, very special guest waiting in the green room that might have a little bit of interest in the races on Friday. Paul, take it away.
Yeah, Pete, we're going to go a little out of order of the races, and we're going to start with the feature on Friday, the 2-year-old, the juvenile. It is race 9 of 10. Those of you who have been following the races all year know that we have some standouts in this race. We have Godolphin's undefeated East Avenue breaking from the rail, and we have another undefeated horse, Pete, breaking from the far outside. We talked about that last night on, horses that draw away from each other that are main contenders. Chancer McPatrick is 3 for 3. as buyers have improved each time. He broke his maiden at Saratoga July 27th with Howard and Matt Miller and crew there. Came back and won the Grade 1 Hopeful on closing day and went down to Aqueduct to win the Grade 1 Champagne. In all 3 races, he came from dead last and unleashed a powerful, powerful move. And Pete Chancer McPatrick is owned by Sean Flanagan of Flanagan Racing. I had a chance encounter with Sean, oddly enough, at the bar at Pinnell's Restaurant in Saratoga. And if I'm going to have a chance encounter with someone, there's a good chance that it's going to happen there. It was really great. He's a Massachusetts guy, and Pete, I love to have fellow Massachusetts people do well. And he bought this horse as a 2-year-old for $725,000 at the OBS April share. Trish Smith wants
Thank you, Trish.
some bourbon. That's very nice of her. He bought this horse, Pete, for $725,000 in April of as a 2-year-old earlier this year. In April.
I hope he was buying the drinks then and spending all that kind of cash.
I don't remember, Pete, to be honest with you. Anyway, without further ado, we wanted to get all the races in. But we're going to start with the Juvenile, and we have with us live. Where are you coming from, Sean? You're not. Are you in Florida?
No, right now I'm in Oxford, Massachusetts.
Oh, right up the road. How great is that?
Yeah.
Right up the road. Well, Sean, we talked a little in the pre-show and obviously talked a lot about your horse that night at Pinnell's. That was a fun night. You are now 3 days away from, a race that a lot of people want to win. And I know when you go to a 2-year-old sale, somewhere in the back of your mind there's got to be, maybe we'll end up in the Juvenile. So tell us how you're feeling 3 days out from the big race.
Yeah, well, I saw him work this morning, ran a couple of laps, jogged a couple of laps, and he looked phenomenal. The folks at FanDuel TV at the breakfast at Breeders' Cup, they were talking about how good he looked, and he just seemed he was ready to go for a walk, this morning. So it was a really looked good, nowhere from the trip out west. Chad told me he shipped well. I think Chad said shipped well, looks good. So
hey, Sean, I'm sorry to interrupt you. It looked like you popped on again on another device. I'm gonna take you off and bring you back on. I apologize because the sound is a little bit weird right now. Yeah, you're actually on the bottom of our screen twice. So hold on one second, Sean. I want to bring you right back on in just a second. I apologize, everyone. Let me see what happens here. Go ahead, Sean. If this doesn't, right now you're on twice on the bottom. I don't know if you're on 2 different devices. I'm a little confused, but go ahead and talk. Let's see how this is. Go ahead.
It's a little better. Maybe not.
Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. So this morning, and I think the horse is ready. Chad always seems to get these horses ready for big events, and we're very optimistic for Friday.
Sean, would be remiss if we didn't at least give our viewers a Reader's Digest version of your story, and we won't get all the way into it because we don't have all night. But 5 years ago, you were diagnosed with a very serious illness, perhaps told you may not be around to see the 2024 Juvenile. And thanks to a great doctor whom you subsequently named a horse for, you are alive, well, and heading to the Juvenile. Tell us just a little bit about that part of your background that people may not know about.
Yeah, it was a tough summer. I had gotten back from the Bahamas in June. Just started to feel really lousy and went downhill pretty quick. My cousin encouraged me to go to Glens Falls Hospital and get checked out. Found something, my abdomen. And so I went back and didn't really know what to see. And my sister-in-law, long story short, went to school with Dr. Bluth's sister, I believe, or his wife's sister. That's what it was. Anyway, so I was able to get in with the best oncological surgeon, Mass General, and yeah, it was a tough thing when we first talked with him. I was there with my wife, my older brother Dave, and the news wasn't good. A couple of years, and there was no treatment, no chemo or radiation or any of that stuff in the lineup. So it was kind of get your act together and live your life. But, we had the operation, and a few weeks after the operation, he told me how successful it was, and the margins were phenomenal, and he said, I think you're going to be okay. We're going to take good care of you. So, yeah, that's how we got started. And whether that was the catalyst to get into horse ownership, I don't know. I always wanted to get involved, and maybe that pushed me over the edge to just start living, to get on with that new part of my life. And so I guess you could say it pushed me over the edge. So I dipped my toe the next March, bought a few horses, and fully expecting them to go to the Derby, but that didn't pan out the year.
I got a quick question, if I may. And
Yeah, go
guys,
ahead,
his sound is fine on your end, Pete and Paul?
It's okay, Sean. I think if you get a little closer to the device where the microphone is, it's going to be better.
It's like I hear it going in and out. I don't know if you guys hear the same, but yeah, but okay.
Yeah.
Well, you will. Yeah, I don't. Okay. Anyway, we'll move on. Hopefully, I apologize to everyone at home if it's skipping a little bit. My one question for you, Sean, and let me bring up the PPs here one more time. At what point did you and Chad and the rest of the ownership feel like this horse was going to be special? And was it even possibly before his first race?
Yeah, I didn't really speak with Chad too frequently throughout the summer. I knew he thought very highly of the horse. He said, "You make sure you pick out a good name for that one." And so I did something, and I wanted to name the horse after my son Patrick, and so I was able to do it this way. But I know that he was, he mentioned to other people that he thought that the horse was special. As soon as he, came off the transport, ran around the track a couple times, he knew that he was a real deal.
That's awesome.
Well, and that was certainly reinforced in the race that Howard saw, the maiden race, Sean. And again, we spoke a little bit before you came on. Just tell our viewers a little bit about your thoughts on drawing the far outside. I think you may have preferred to be a little inside of the 10 in this race.
Yeah. You for Friday race? Paul,
yeah, this is the Champagne, guys, right here. We're doing the Champagne right here.
Yeah, I was thrilled with the 10 post in the Champagne because it's a one-turn mile. When they did the draw last night, it was a little bit bummed out. To have drawn the 10 post, thinking maybe he could show a little speed if he drew an inside post and have maybe half the field going into the first turn and on the rail and the dream trip. But it didn't happen, and who knows? He might want to drop back dead last again anyway. It seems to be his running style. So I think that we'll be okay regardless of what. Flavio Pratt is, one of the best, if not the best rider in the country right now, and he'll figure it out.
Guys, we're gonna go ahead. Sean's connection's really poor. We're getting a bunch of comments in the chat and whatever. So Sean, for some reason you're on twice. I'm not sure. It looked like you joined the show a second time somehow right before we started, because your sound was great right before when we were talking before the show. So I apologize, Sean, and everyone at home. This is the world of tech, but we really appreciate having on. And Sean, I'll tell you what, this is a main play for me on Friday. So I'd love to see Chance McPatrick in the winner's circle, but I'm sure you'd like to have him in the winner's circle slightly more than I would. Any final thoughts, Sean? And then we'll let you go for the night.
We're gonna give it hell. We're gonna enjoy it though. It's been an enjoyable ride so far, and I just want to see that horse come running in the stretch and let the chips fall where they may.
Terrific.
That's all you can do.
Sean, we'll see you out there.
Sounds great.
Thanks, Sean. Good luck.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Sean.
Sean. Good luck.
Well, there we go. All right. So that's Sean Flanagan with the ownership of Chancellor McPatrick. Again, I apologize. His audio was fine, and then something happened right before he came on, and we had a little bit of issue. That's a rarity if you watch the show, but gave some great information, Paul and Pete, and what a spot to be in. I mean, can you imagine a favorite or co-favorite in the juvenile? And, obviously they want to win that race. I got to tell you guys, there's no reason why he won't train on to be a factor next year on the 3-year-old Derby Trail, Pete.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I didn't know that about his story too. So hearing that, and I assume it would even be more special because of that. So, I mean, there's so much going on. And plus, yeah, you're right. It is the kind of horse that can go on to even bigger and better things, regardless of what happens on Friday.
No
and
doubt
Pete,
about
that we were having a little difficulty with the sound, but just to recap quickly, in 2019, he was told you have a maximum of 2 years to live.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
And found this doctor, Dr. Michael Blute, and did surgery, and literally, and he didn't know anything else other than, let's hope for the best with the surgery. 2 weeks after the surgery, he goes in for the follow-up, and Dr. Blute tells him, I think you're going to be okay. So he went from, as he said, get your affairs in order. And then you know what he did, Pete? He went out and started buying expensive horses.
That's what I would do. That's hell yeah. That's what I would do.
And
I appreciate that.
It's really a good story. And Howard, I think you are exactly right. We know that horses with his running style can have it difficult in the Derby. I've heard, I haven't seen any, recently, but I certainly think he is going to be a horse that improves with distance. This Del Mar stretch might not be exactly what he wants. The 10-hole going 2 turns for the first time might not be exactly what he wants. But if Sean has his choice, if he's got to get a bad post, get it this week and not on May 3rd, right? Don't get the one on Derby Day.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Story. I know we're going to talk about the race, but we appreciate him being on. And I can tell you that on this Friday, and looking forward to next year's races, if you're not at the race, the bar at Long Meadow Country Club in Lowell, Mass. is certainly a place to be, because that's Sean's place. And the guys whoop it up pretty good when good old Chancellor McPatrick, who, by the way, Pete, is named for his son, Patrick. I know he referred to naming the horse. When he runs, the boys up at Longmeadow get after it pretty good.
I like that.
That's
I
great.
have no doubt believe in that.
All right, guys, let's get on to the handicapping for Friday. If you're just joining us, yes, this is me. Yes, this is my voice. I've done a ridiculous amount of hours of shows, and it's catching up with me. So again, I apologize for the very last time tonight. Pete and Paul will probably be talking more, and I will be sharing comments. There you go. I'll be sharing my thoughts in the chat as well as on air. The first race that we're going to talk about is the first Breeders' Cup race of the weekend. It is the Juvenile Turf Sprint. There is a scratch. The number 1 out on bail. The number is out. The number 1 is out, literally on bail. That means Asterius is going to have the rail. Asterius is 9-2. The morning line favorite, guys, is a very talented Japanese horse, number 8, Ekoro Sieg. Let's go with our picks to start off the Breeders' Cup and start off Future Stars Friday. I am going 8-2-10. Pete's going 2-9-8. Paul's going 7-8. Pete, I'm gonna have you go first. Asterius, a very talented horse. James Doyle riding, of course, brother of Sophie Doyle.
Correct.
9-2. What do you like about Asterius to kick off the Breeders' Cup for your picks, Pete?
Yeah, everything. I like this. This is a horse who, and the pick of James Doyle, because you could see the I don't know how to pronounce it properly, but the Wathenen Racing, the owners there also have, why am I blanking? Shareholder number 9. And you see William Buick, but in this case, Doyle basically has the pick of who he likes, and he went with Asterius, from what I understand. This is a horse that, if you look just from I know not figures are everything, but one thing I do like is when you look at a horse's figures and you look at this horse's time form, there's incremental improvement every single race, literally. So this horse just keeps getting better and better. And if you look, this horse is very tactical. So sometimes we used to equate, and I think that's why they weren't always as successful in this race. We used to equate the European horses maybe with a little slower, not as tactical, maybe coming from the back, a little too far back. This horse is very tactical, can be either on the lead, can be right off, and I assume right off here because there is 2 high-quality speed horses that we're going to talk about. This one is very tactical, keeps getting better, can attack those horses in the lane. And you see 2 back, the 55 and 3 back, the 56. So this horse could be fast, tactical, is going to be right there. And I think this horse is going to take over from the 2 leaders. And I think this horse is going to get away. I think this is actually my I don't want to spoil anything, but this is in the running for my play of the day. So
wow. He's been banging heads with Big Mojo several times.
yes.
And the rail, he'll be able to save ground. He does need to break, though, and sometimes the Euros don't. Although on tape, he's been breaking fine.
He breaks very well, yeah.
Could be a little bit tricky down there. You never know. Whistle Jacket is your top choice. Paul, Mr. Aiden O'Brien. Oh, yeah, I hear he's pretty good. Whistle Jacket, Paul.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I think of the 14 races, this might be, if you asked me to pick an order, how much I liked the race, this would be number 14. So I'm very happy that it's starting off. So I won't feel bad when I'm 0 for 1. I'll know that I have 13 more choices. But yeah, I do think, the U.S. has won 4 out of 7. This is a relatively new race, but the Euros have won the last 2. And I got to tell you, no disrespect to Governor Sam, and, we all like Alex Bregman. I just think this is an especially weak U.S. contingent. So I look to the Euros. I picked Astorius second, I believe. Did I? Yeah, I picked him second, which I'm glad. I'm happy to hear how much you like him, Pete, because I don't have a strong feeling in the race. But I do think Whistle Jacket's been very consistent, as everyone can read the form. Ironically, the only time he's been out of the money, he lost to Shareholder, whom I think is very interesting at 12-1, by the way. And how'd you like to have your second choice of jockeys and end up with William Buick? That's not
bad, right, Paul? I like when that happens.
Second to Penny Chenery ending up with Secretariat in that little lottery. But yeah, so I like the Euros. I do like the 8, Howard. You could, I don't know if you're going to talk or give us sign language about the 8, but I do like the 8 a little bit as well.
Hey, Paul, sorry, I was just saying on Whistle Jacket before we move on. The only thing that scared me a bit, some of his best races were on a little bit of softer ground. And that was, again, when you're nitpicking between the top end.
Yep.
That was the only thing that sort of threw me off just a bit. But, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. When they get on the hard turf, you never know what they're going to do. You might just take to it and love it.
I'm not sure that he has the upside that my horse has. And Pete, you mentioned a big bet on Asterius. I don't like turf sprints. I even like 2-year-old turf sprints even less. So I will be treading lightly, if at all, in the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge. But you can be damn sure that unless the number 8, Akoro Sieg, is less than 3-1, I'll be placing a relatively healthy or unhealthy win bet to start my Breeders' Cup races. I think Akoro Sieg is a serious horse. Christian Lemaire, one of the best jockeys in the world, who rides regularly in Japan and the Far East. This horse, guys, went 107-1 in his last start. And I don't care what turf course that is. That is blazing. He is very fast. He cost $250 at OBS March. He was meant to be a good one. He's also won guys going 6, which I like a lot. So there's a little bit of a cutback. He doesn't break perfectly. I'm a little concerned about that, but he gets a good post. If he just breaks decent, he can rush up, I think, and still win this race. I'll know in the first 2 seconds if Akoro Sieg has a big chance, because he does have to break. It's not that he breaks slow, guys. He just breaks a hair slow. You can't really do that in this race. I think he's the fastest horse in this race. And I think if he breaks relatively well, I think he's going to win this race, and I'll take 3-1 or higher. Final thoughts in this great race, guys, and we'll move on. We've all got the Asterius in there. Pete, you've got a little bit of shareholder. Why don't you quickly talk about him? We'll move on.
Yeah, real quick on a Coral Sieg, by the way. The one thing I like, that horse does it so easy, has never even been asked and was running those times. That horse was never even touched. The jockey barely moves, and he just has such a cruising speed that is so cool to watch, that he could be something special. It's just want to see it against probably the better competition. Yeah, shareholder was getting some love in the chat, and I like this horse. You see in the last one eased, so that looks worse than it was. And when you watch it, it just, I don't know if something was wrong. It looked like something, it looked like Jimmy Doyle just stopped and was like, all right, this is enough. I don't think it's his day. And you see he's got a little bit of time off. But going into that race, I was reading some articles pre that. This horse was really well thought of and looked really good in those first two races. And I think now his sort of back. And again, the only thing that worries you is this is a tough race to come back on off whatever ailed him a bit. And then the layoff, this is a tough one to come back on. But I think talent-wise, and those first two races puts this horse right square in the mix. I just wish he had maybe one start in between or something to show that he was really sharp and ready to go. But everything I read looks like he is. So I kind of like that horse, especially at that price.
You want to read that, Pete?
Yeah, Kevin B. I'm just not in on Akoro Sieg due to hearing so much buzz. Price won't be there. Yeah, I agree. The price probably won't, and it's not the strongest field, and it's not a bunch of horses that are going to jump out. So I think the buzz will take control. So you just have to see. I mean, it's the first race of the sequence. You see how it goes, but it's not like, depending on what you're playing, if you're talking about playing a pick five, I don't think that's a reason to leave a horse that talented off your ticket or anything. And Howard posted, like I said, let value be your guide this weekend. Yeah, there's a time to shop for value, and it's time to shop for the horse that you think is going to win, and you could make money doing that. So don't go off a horse if you think it's by far the best horse in the race. So that would be my only.
Elaine, thanks for joining the show. Guys, we've seen new names all year long. We really appreciate our new listeners and viewers. Let's go on to the next race, guys. I got to do a few clicking here. The next race is the Juvenile Fillies, and there's a horse that I think is going to be a comfortable favorite, and I think there's going to be a horse that'll be a relatively comfortable second choice, and I'm very interested to hear what you guys think. Let's bring our picks on the screen. Actually, let me go and bring up the field first. I'm just going to do some quick clicking here. This is a really interesting race, and here it is right now. It is the Juvenile Fillies. It's a field of 10. The morning line favorite is the number 2 Scottish Lassie. I got to tell you guys, I don't think she's going to be the favorite. In fact, I don't think it's going to be close. I think Immersive, who's 3-1 morning line, is going to be a clear favorite in this race, just based on connections. There's an interesting
Scottish Lassie is the 10, Howard, not the 2.
What did I say? The 2?
Yeah, well, you're on drugs.
Sorry about that. The 10.
No, we understand. You're on sedatives. We get you.
The 10 is Scottish. The 10 is Scottish Lassie. There's an interesting Japanese horse in American Bikini, and the number 7, guys, non-compliant, was a scratch today. And I know a lot of people liked that horse from the West Coast, and now she is out. So now, yeah, Pete included. So now it's a field of 9. Here's our picks on the bottom of the screen. I'm going 5, 9, 3. Pete's going 3, 5, 10, and Paul's going 3, 10, 5. So Pete and Paul, you guys have the same 3 and the same top horse. Immersive is very logical. She's good. She's done absolutely nothing wrong. She's I won't say a likely winner, but she's very likable in this race, Paul.
Yeah, and I don't, I certainly don't like her as much as I do as the Godolphin male in the Juvenile, but I also think the rush to bet against her might be a tad underinformed. So we'll see, but this is not a murderess's row, so to speak. I guess we don't know how good American Bikini is. She has beat the boys in Japan, for what that's worth. I do like Scottish Lassie, the 10 horse. Again, not an idea. Will be the 9 post now with the scratch. Howard, I think your horse is playable. That horse ran very well in breaking her maiden at Saratoga and came back with a good second in the Alcibiades, but not Immersive was comfortably winning that race. So I just think I don't think Immersive is necessarily a superstar, but I don't think you have to be anything close to a superstar to win this race.
Well, here's the race. You guys can talk it through. Immersive coming outside and Quick Kick in the green, looming up in third. Go ahead, one of you, or Paul, go ahead.
And yeah, Manny has this horse under a ride from the 3/8 pole, and he has to stay after her. But Quick Kick is within a length right here, and at the end is going to be within a length and a quarter. So she, we'll see how good this field was, but they could have gone around again, and I don't think she was getting passed by anyone in this field. So either that's going to turn out to be a key race or it isn't. But again, I don't know what you think, Pete. I just don't see. There's another Japanese horse who's 20-1 who coming off a maiden win, Otamina, Shako. Again, American Bikini could be really good. Scottish Lassie's put up a 90 buyer in the Frazette, which I also think was not a great field. So I don't know. As I said, I think Immersive may not be great, but I think she's very good, and I think that's enough in this field.
Yeah, I agree with you on Immersive. I know Immersive gets no love, even in the chat. I don't think people like her very much because she's not flashy. She's a bit grindy. She sort of just does what she needs to do. But sometimes that wins races, and it has for her up until this point. I think the distance suits. I think she's just, like you said, she's strong. She just doesn't get past. She's tough. She's hard-nosed, and I think she's just going to get the trip. She can work out trips. She's going to sit close. There should be speed. We expect Nooney, I think, to go. We expect American Bikini to go. I think there should be pace. And yeah, thank you, Howard. You can go to the time form there. Excuse me. If you look, and they have Immersive, I don't think that's where Immersive is going to be. I assume Immersive will be sitting right behind those two, sitting on the rail, hopefully, and then is just going to tip out if they sort of tire each other out. I don't love Nooney. I think Nooney is a little bit of cheapish type speed, and American Bikini, who I think we'll talk about, or Howard, I don't know if you want me to talk a bit. The only concern I have with American Bikini, the last two races she won, she was able to get a pretty easy lead. She was able to just get on the lead and sort of dictate everything her own way. We don't really know what she beat, which I don't hold that against horses. But again, when you get an easy lead, it's just hard to gauge it. In the debut, which was a while ago, that one, she actually had some pace pressure and she folded a bit. And again, that was on debut. You can't hold a debut race against a horse. But it was enough for me to say that, hey, if this horse is looked in the eye the whole way around, like someone might do here, and then gets a good horse or a good couple of horses on her neck in the lane, is she going to be able to hold it off? And I'm going to bet no. So I'm going to go the other way on that one.
Guys, here's my thought in general. And again, I turned up my volume on my mic, so I hope everyone can hear me, because I honestly can't really talk much louder than this. I completely disagree with Timeform US early pace, and usually I agree with them. Let's just look at this race, guys, okay? And I'll be brief, but I think it's important. The rail horse is Irad. You really think Irad's not going to send hard from the rail guys in this race? He's going. And this horse has been involved in pretty fast fractions sprinting. So this one is going. No doubt about it. Snow White is quick early. And she broke from the rail last time, but then sort of rushed up. It's Gargan and Saez. You don't think this 2 is going to be going? This 2 is going, okay? Immersive is a very likely winner. I like her. I'm just trying to get a little. I'm price shopping. Okay, Lacara is quick also. Here's my thought, guys. There's a lot of early speed, and then you've got Nooney and American Bikini who might be going. I think this thing could really heat up, and we've seen in this race many times heavy favorites win. We've also seen some really weird stuff happen, and I don't think Quick Kick would be a weird result. We watched the replay. She had major lead changes, guys, if you watch that race. And I'm going to trust Tom Amos, who I think is one of the most underrated great trainers in this country, to figure it out. And you said it, Paul. Yes, she wasn't going by Immersive, and they both got good trips. But to make up a length and a half in a month when there's going to be a fast pace and she's one of the few closers in this race, Why not? And she's going to be 4 times the price as the others. I'm going to stick with Quick Kick. You guys know I liked her last time. I don't see any reason to go against her based on the price I'm going to get. I think the Japanese horse is interesting. I don't like the 10 at all in this spot. I think that was a very weak race, and she could be hung out wide. I'm going 5, 9, 3. Final thoughts, guys, as we move along, as I'm going to mute myself and bring up some comments. Go ahead, guys.
Paul, what do you think real quick on Scottish Lassie? And there's a lot of love for her in the chat. What do you have her out of the top 3, similar to me? What do you have against her, or is it just you like the other 3 just better?
No, I have her second, Pete.
Oh, you do have her second. I'm sorry, my bad. Oh yeah, never mind. I was thinking
again,
I had the wrong number.
I actually have feelings similar to and I think Howard makes a good point as far as the value on Quick Kick, because I really liked Quick Kick in the maiden win at Saratoga. Tom came on the air and basically said, things didn't go well the first time, but he really liked her that day. At 4-1 was the right number. Yeah, same feeling. Scottish Lassie. I'm not so sure she's Kentucky Oaks bound, but this I buy what Howard's saying about the speed of the field, but I just, maybe I'll be wrong, but I think it'll be borne out down the line. I just don't. I think we're going to see better 3-year-old fillies than we have in this race when they become 3. So I just think Scottish Lassie, someone put in the chat, the only 90 buyer in a race where you're probably going to need a 90 to win. I don't think you can ignore that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I had a weird stat, which doesn't just affect this race, and I don't think it means much because I'm definitely bucking it in some other races. The 10 posts during the summer meet at Del Mar was 5 for 108, and that's across the turf and the dirt and everything. So that encompasses everything. It was just not the most positive post to be in during the summer meet. But again, I'm definitely bucking that trend in many races. So I hope that doesn't stick the whole way through.
All right, guys, let's go to the Juvenile Fillies turf, and there is a potential superstar in this race from the rail. We've talked about this horse ad nauseum. The number 1 Lake Victoria for Aiden O'Brien, Ryan Moore, 8-5 morning line. I said that one of the few ways she could lose this race before the draw is if she draws the rail or like 13 or 14. Sure enough, she draws the rail. I realize she'll save ground and she breaks fine, and maybe I'm overthinking it, but guys, it's a turf race with 14 horses, and if Ryan Moore is not on the lead, which I don't think he will be, because I think this horse is better tracking. In fact, Aiden pretty much said that, Paul. If you recall, he said they trained him to, in behind. We saw the cavalry this morning during the training where they follow each other, which is pretty cool. Anyway, Lake Victoria is going to be a major single for a lot of people. I'm going 176. Pete's going 147. Paul's going 1713. Guys, I'm going to actually speak first and then let you guys talk for a little bit here. Let me just put up the PPs. She's done absolutely nothing wrong. There's really not much to say. I will say 2 back. She closed, guys. Last time she sort of she stalked and then took over and just completely exploded, although it was 6 furlongs. I see 0 knocks. This is a horse by Frankel. I see 0 knocks. There's only 2 things that can beat her. Number 1, if she doesn't break, and number 2, if she has trouble in the stretch. Both those things are possible. I think she is one of the more likely winners of the entire weekend, guys. I have nothing cute here at all.
No, you're overthinking it. She's going to win. She's going to win for fun. I don't really think there's much to. It's not a good field either. If you look through the field and you're trying to dig for somebody to beat her, I mean, there's some decent horses that you like, but she's on another level talent-wise, and she's on another level just in terms of what she's done up until this point. So again, unless all hell breaks loose, I'm going to be happy having Ryan Moore if I need to work out a trip from the rail. So I don't think there's much to look at here. Paul, what do you think? You agree?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think thought process could be good. I think there's a potential for a real short exacta here. I think I would be inclined to try to beat thought process and try to get a horse like, Scythian or Totally Justified or Virgin Colada, one of those 15 to 20 to 1 shots try to get one of them to run second and get a decent price. But yeah, as far as on the top line, look, we know it's the Breeders' Cup and upsets happen, and there'll be plenty of them. But you do have to go by what you've looked at, both on paper and with your own eyes. And this is a, two-time Group 1 winner, has won on good turf, good firm, and soft turf. So there's a pretty good range. And, if you want to say, well, she's stretching out, she hasn't won in a mile. Again, Euros who can run at 7 furlongs can run the mile here. Euros who can run the mile there can run the mile in an eighth here. Euros who can run the mile in an eighth there can run the mile in a quarter here. You get the picture, right? That to me is the least of, if you want to find a knock for her. And I know Harvey Pack, God rest his soul, I understand, but that to me would be the least of my worries.
Plus, she runs through the wire. She seems to be gaining strength at the end when everyone else is fading. So yeah, no concerns. If you want to talk Scythian, I could talk Scythian a little bit. There was some chatter about her in the chat there. Yeah, I like this horse, and I think you're going to get the price too. If for no other reason, the buyers are low. So this horse was she was impressive last out, and you can show the replay there for sure. She was impressive last out, and she sort of won this race. Oh, go ahead, Howard.
Sorry, I was just going to say, as you can see on the screen, everyone, the top 3 finishers are in this race.
Yeah.
8, 3, 8, and 11 is when you want to watch here. There was also an incident on the far turn that I think really helped all 3 of these horses, frankly. But go ahead, Pete. I'll go to the far turn. You can talk about it.
Yeah, you want to say, did it help her too much? But I think I thought, at least watching it, that she was going to win the race anyway. And It just sort of opened it up for her. Because you look here, and that's her where you're right on the rail there. And you see they sort of bombed away, so it sort of ruined it. But she was coming up the rail, and I think she was going to win that race. And I think she looks pretty strong down the lane. I just like the fact that the thing I like about the price, so she's sitting at 12, and her buyers are low. And we know that people play buyers, and her buyers are 70, 77. But like we say on here a lot, Howard, it's nice when you can have the time forms as well. And her time forms, 95, 103 since she got put on the turf. And 103 is right in line and is even better than thought process. So again, not that means anything, one's better, but I think just from a buyer standpoint, sometimes the morning line or the betters, that sways them. And I think you're getting a higher price on a horse that I think might be a little more talented and a little faster than the buyers give her credit for. At least that's my hope, because I think I'm right with Paul. This is one where you see if you can find something cold, see if you can maybe play a cold exacta, cold try, something like this, and hope you can get some bombs underneath.
Wouldn't it be like Chad Brown, Paul, who was excellent with the Juvenile Fillies in this race, to pull some kind of shocker with Virgin Colada for Resolute Racing and Noah Maher? She was the 3 in that race who made a nice late run. I don't know how you guys feel, and we'll move on here in a moment. You both know, and people at home know, I'm a big visual handicapper, as you guys are also. When you watch replays of Lake Victoria, and then you watch that replay with Scythian, it looks like Scythian is like a college horse in slow motion, and Lake Victoria is LeBron James or name your favorite player, whatever.
Not him.
Okay.
Not him. Yeah.
That's fine. I agree. My MJ. Let's just go with MJ because that's fine.
That's better.
It just seems like it feels like a different league to me, guys. When you watch the replay, I don't care what the numbers say. It just seems like a different acceleration, a different class of horse, Paul. That's how it feels.
We have a commenter, Easy Goer, who wants us to stop. He feels we're being disingenuous. I don't know how giving an opinion that a very good horse is going to win the race is disingenuous, but maybe at a later time that could be explained.
First of all, me of the Euro trash who loves the American horses generally. I
did say anything can happen in a Breeders' Cup race. The one thing I will say for all those who are hoping to hit something here, the average win payoff in this race when it is held in California, so we're dealing with Santa Anita and Del Mar, is $18. So this race has paid when it's run on the West Coast. So I hope that's genuine enough for everyone.
Let me respond to Easy Goer, and I respect everyone's opinion in the chat. That's why I love horse racing and I love our live chat. Easy Goer, this is the most accomplished 2-year-old turf horse we've seen in years. That's not, now that doesn't mean I didn't say she's a sure thing. I said she's going to be very tough to beat. Actually, Easy Goer and Pete and Paul, please verify. I just said twice there's 2 ways she can lose on the show like 5 minutes ago. The bottom line is she has a 108 time form in her last race. She's a 3-time group winner, including 2 group 1s. This is not a horse that they usually send over here, guys, for this race. Usually it's a second or third string. This is like a Mendelssohn or I don't know. I mean, I hit it a bomb. This is a serious horse. She can lose. Easy Goer. It's a horse race. I wouldn't be shocked if she lost, but she's one of the most talented horse guys that's come over in a long time. Plain and simple.
Yep, I think I agree. That's enough. We can go on to the next one.
Okay. I had to push back a little bit, guys. All right, let's go on to the juveniles. Sorry, I actually didn't want to show that first. I want to show this first, Pete. Let's do it right now. Let me take the banners off the screen. I would say this is the highlight of the day, guys, because again, the winner of the juvenile is the presumptive favorite for the 2025 Kentucky Derby. And you can scoff that idea, but there's a horse called Fierceness that's running in the Classic this year, guys, who will be one of the top favorites, that had a very good 3-year-old campaign and was one of the top, actually was the favorite in the Derby, right? He was the favorite, right? I don't know why I'm even questioning that. Yeah, was the favorite in the Derby. So who knows? It's a field of 10. We just had a long conversation with Flanagan Racing and Chancellor McPatrick, who's 3-1. But the morning line favorite, guys, is the rail horse East Avenue for Godolphin at 5-2, who's done absolutely nothing wrong at all and has looked spectacular in both of his races. This is a very good juvenile, guys, in my opinion. Let's go ahead and bring up the picks. I'm going 10-5-1. Pete is going 7-10-1. Paul's going 1-10-4. Paul, let's go to you first and talk about East Avenue, Godolphin Blue. I would assume he'll be the favorite in this race. I mean, there's really nothing to knock on him. He's been very good.
Yeah, I do think he'll be the favorite, Howard, but I certainly think Chancellor McPatrick is going to take money with the 3-for-3 line. I think Jonathan's Way will take some money, 2-for-2 with the 90 buyer. Ferocious has been bet down to favoritism in all 3 of his races. He won't be the favorite today. You'll actually get some value with Ferocious, but still will take some money. But, I just think race profile, the flow of the race has a lot to do with this. We talked to Sean both before we came on the air and after. Chancellor McPatrick, you go back and watch his replays, but you really only have to watch from the far turn home because he's pretty much been last. And that's an accurate time form depiction of where he's been and where he's likely to be. But boy, he has a turn of foot. Now, what's tough about that in this race is a short stretch at Del Mar. He is going around 2 turns for the first time, and we've talked about this a lot. A lot of time that closing oomph is not exactly the same. I assume this is East Avenue you're showing?
Yes. Yeah,
this is East Avenue and the Breeders' Futurity, and you will see Tyler shake the reins a little here, and he is just going to run away from Ferocious, who's all out in second, and now Tyler is out for a Saturday afternoon ride. I thought this was visually impressive. The horse, I happened to catch him on the track on the FanDuel show. I think it was yesterday or today. The days have all run together, Howard. I don't have to tell you that. You're on your deathbed from doing all this work. But he looked spectacular on the track. I just think there's a lot. Now, would I have chosen the 1? No, but probably I would choose the 1 in this setup over the far outside, especially for a speed horse. It's less of a factor with Chancer. But as I said last night on the draw show, I just think this horse has no trouble clearing second or third and getting the type of trip Tyler wants. And I like this horse an awful lot.
Pete, what do you like about gaming for Baffert, who's interesting and gets Irad Ortiz, which is going to lower his price, though I don't think he's going to be 8-1. And then we're looking at somewhere around 5-1, but he can't be that low with Chancer and East Avenue taking the top of the market money.
No, that's the thing. I mean, they're definitely going to take the lion's share, and I still think Jonathan's Way will be lower. Will be the third choice. So I still think Gaming would be eight, or not 8-1 maybe, but I still think fourth choice. I agree with Paul. This does look like one of those races where I could see East Avenue if he gets his own way, just sort of pulling away and just being dominant. Chancer McPatrick will be fighting against just the fact that it's tough to close from as far back as he might, especially trying to run down good horses. The only reason I went with Gaming, I just think this is the kind of horse that with Irad especially, this is the horse that's going to be sitting behind there. So if somebody does go with East Avenue and they do sort of soften up a bit, I think Gaming will be sitting the type of trip that can win the race. Now, whether he's good enough to pass a horse like East Avenue and then hold off a horse like Chancer McPatrick, it remains to be seen. I'll probably have all three of them on my ticket because I like all three of them a lot. But I think this is one where if he can get the jump and has to have the lead, and Chancer McPatrick, he's either a little too far back or runs into a bit of trouble or just can't close as quick enough out this track. I think Gaming is the type that he'll need to step up a bit, but I think he's the type that's going to have the trip. And we know Baffert, it's in California. Tom Espinoza on Breeders' Cup Breakfast said they added sand to track yesterday. Anybody else hear that? Yep, I heard that today.
Yeah, that's interesting.
How might that affect the races, guys? Any clue at all?
Well, we were in our own little thread today with folks, and I believe was it Matt Howard that indicated that happened before, and it was not good for the closers on dirt. You kind of would think it would be, right? If presumably if the track's going to be slower, it's better for closers. And we're not going to really have that much of a sample. We have a Thursday card, and then by this point we'll have had 5 or 6 races on Friday. So maybe we will, but we're just you're going to have to pay attention. Is what that boils down to.
I'm not sure what track Matt is referring to, but if people think there's going to be more kickback because there's more sand added, I would push back on that a little bit because of the ocean air at Del Mar. It's tends to be more humid. There's more moisture in the track anyway. I've never seen a lot of kickback at Del Mar, like ever. So while I appreciate Matt's comment in our private thread today, I'm not sure that's going to be the case. I think it's just going to. I think the times just won't be as fast. And I agree. If anything, it should help stamina, not speed in general, but we'll see. Let me talk about Chancer, guys, just a little bit. I think this is not the kind of horse I'd usually take on top in this kind of race because I'm very fearful of Speed Famer going 2 turns. But first of all, I don't think he has to be as far back as it said. And even Sean Flanagan said so, Paul, before. I don't know if he said it on the show. He said before, I believe, that they think this horse got a little more speed than he's been showing. But in a weird way, I hope he just takes back because I think there's a lot of early speed in here. And I hate to say this, guys, but right now, he's more professional than Sierra Leone was up until like the summer of Sierra Leone's 3-year-old year. Like this horse, guys, has been professional from word go. He lead changes perfectly. He goes when Pratt asks. He's handy. He can take dirt. Like as much as people like East Avenue, to me, there's equally as much to like as Chancer McPatrick. So if I'm going to bet one of those two guys, I'm going to take the one there where I think the race flow suits better and might be a little bit of a higher price. So, and I don't mind if he's doing the clear. Would they rather he be stuck down the inside trying to weave through horses? I don't want that. Let him go 4 or 5 wide. I don't care. I think this is a very good horse who I think is going to catch a great spot because as good as East Avenue is, guys, he's going to be pressed on at some point, and he's going to have to do something that he's never done. Although, last thing, Chancer, you're right, Paul, has not gone 2 turns, and 2-turn experience in this race does help. As I got to stop there because that's all I got in my voice for the next minute or two.
No, I do think, though, how and we did talk a little bit about this with Sean before he came on. I think he said he loved having the far outside in the Champagne, but that's a 1-turn mile at Aqueduct. I do think for the first 2-turn race. I think they figure he's going to be at or near the back of the pack anyway. So the opportunity to save ground in a 2-turn race would be advantageous. That they could save ground today, but if they are, they're going to be like that time form showed. But, as we said, you have a gentleman named Pratt in the irons, so you're not going to, you're going to assume he's going to get you the best possible trip.
Yeah, Paul. Go ahead, Howard.
I would not. I'm sorry. I know you guys can't hear me well. That's on my
No,
fault,
we can
honestly.
hear you fine, actually. You're actually
Okay,
pretty
great.
clear.
Oh, wonderful. All right. Maybe I should stay this way. Not.
Yeah.
My students can't hear me as well. I was originally against Jonathan's way because the Iroquois has just not turned out to be a good prep. He's off a longer layoff. The way that he won at Saratoga, guys, was so damn impressive. I just think there is a way for him to win this race, Jonathan's way, at an okay price. People can say, "Oh, it's an Ohio." I don't care if this is a Montana bred. I mean, the horse can run, guys, and I think this horse is very live. I would not dismiss this horse at all. That's the last thing I'll say about the race.
I got him as a solid B, Howard. I have no argument. I don't think you're going to see him anywhere near the lead in this race. And they did go to the lead in that last race, but I'm not so sure that they needed to. I just think that was the way. You can just put the replay. Oh no, sorry. I'm not sure that they needed to, but that's how it turned out. But I don't think he needs to. Go back and watch that Saratoga race. If you're going to show the Saratoga race, Howard, you got to show the beginning, because you will not believe this horse wins this race. He is the 7, I believe, Howard.
I think he's the 6. Yeah, there he is. Right there.
Yeah. Shuffled back badly after about 10 strides, and you will see him. Even here for a first-time starter, you don't win from here. And now he is just.
He's in the parking lot, Paul. I mean,
I was going to say you say, well, he's not that far off. No, but he's 10 wide, and Joel's getting after him here, but Joel doesn't hit horses much, and he's not really hitting this horse. And right now, he's gone from hopeless to how much is he going to win by. This was a very, very impressive race in a loaded $100,000 maiden special at Saratoga. So we are not surprised to see this horse advance for sure.
That was one of the wow moments of the summer, as far as I'm concerned, at Saratoga, Paul. Go ahead, Pete. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I wonder if he doesn't get as much love because that race, the horses behind him came back pretty bad. So it looked good going in, and coming out, it's been crappy. And not that matters when you have an impressive run like that, but I wonder if that's why maybe he doesn't get as much love, just because, you see it on the screen there. It just came back a little weak, but the way he demolished it and the trip he had, who gives a crap about that?
Hey, so did the East Avenue main race too, Pete.
Yeah, that one too.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, it's a good point, Howard. That's why knowing a lot of people didn't like him in the Breeders' Futurity. 5-2. Thank you for shopping.
All right, guys, we have one more race to cover, and we really appreciate everyone watching and listening to our Future Stars Friday preview. We have a ton of people watching. We have 2 more shows tomorrow. Please make sure you watch. We have a show with the Betting and Boozing guys covering the first 4 Breeders' Cup races. And then myself, Paul, and Pete will be back tomorrow night. Same bat time, same bat station, 7:30 Eastern, covering the last 5 races of Breeders' Cup. And I do want to let our audience know, if you want myself, Pete, or Paul's opinion on the first 4 races Saturday at the Breeders' Cup, you do need to purchase our Breeders' Cup Power Picks tip sheet. And now that we have a lot of people on, guys, let me just show this one more time, Pete and Paul, and this will probably be the last time that we show this banner, because people are starting to get probably a little annoyed seeing it, but we got to promote our show. Power Picks tip sheet. It is 30 plus pages. The deadline to buy it, and it's very inexpensive and very profitable, is tomorrow, Wednesday, noon Eastern, on our website, hhhracingpodcast.com. Again, no exceptions, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm going to be traveling and it's just too hard logistically to work that out. It's been available, what, Pete, for a week and a half, I believe. So
Yep.
again, our website, or look below the video player. It's a great buy. It's not $75, it's not $100. It's $30 to $35. Please look into that. Again, the deadline is Wednesday noon. So some of you might watch us and the deadline might already be over.
By the way, were you trying to hint that you sound like Christian Bale Batman with this new voice of yours? Is that where you were going? Same bad time. I know that was a reference to the old show, but now you're trying to sound like.
Is that your favorite Batman? Who's your favorite Batman, Pete?
I have a soft spot for the old Adam West show. That's my soft spot.
There we go.
And I liked Batgirl quite a bit when I was a young buck.
Howard, before we leave the Juvenile, Howard, I just would like to say, while we've been doing this, I have booked Sean Flanagan for Derby Week, so he will be on the podcast Derby Week.
Terrific.
Because I'm confident his horse is going to be running.
Oh, wow. Okay, great. And we'll make sure his sound. I feel bad about that.
You were right. You were right. Inadvertently, second device.
His sound was fantastic before the show, and then
that's fine.
Everything
happened. Howard,
it was fine.
Don't add stress to your already deteriorating physical condition.
All right. The Juvenile Turf. This is a war. This
beast
race,
man.
This race is really hard. It's a 14-horse cluster, with 7 international entries. Half the field are international horses. The morning line favorite here is a bit low, in my opinion. The number 11, New Century, for Oseen Murphy and Qatar Racing. This horse, guys, was very impressive, beating Al Qudra, the number 4 horse at Woodbine. I have some very strong opinions in this race. I am writing this race up for the Breeders' Cup Power Picks tip sheet. I've seen way too many replays. Frankly, that's probably why I'm hoarse, even though my eyes were not affected, just my throat here. But I have strong opinions because I've done my homework. That being said, guys, that doesn't mean a heck of a lot, because this is just a very difficult race. Let me go ahead and bring up our picks across the screen. Hold on one second, guys. Like I said, this does end the pick 5, guys, also. So this is just a very important race. Here we go. I'm going 12, 11, 4. Pete's going 4, 13, 11. And Paul's going 11, 3, 1. Pete, we're going to start with you. I think this is a very important duo that we have to talk about. The Godolphin horses here. Al Qudra is 4-1 with James Doyle. Amori City, my top choice, is 10-1. William Buick with a much worse post. What do you like about Al Qudra, Pete Visco?
Yeah, the post definitely helps. And I'll say I liked Al Qudra going into the summer stakes. And I thought, and I know there's been I've listened to a couple different shows, and there's been some different opinions about if Al Qudra's trip was a little better, would have won, or still wouldn't have won, but maybe just looks better because the trip was a little rough. I thought Al Qudra was maybe going to kick away a bit. And I just think I like Al Qudra better going in. So I'm going to ride Al Qudra one more time and think that he's a little better than New Century. I think he should be a little bit closer. Last time he was just way too far back, and I don't think that's his running style. It's not like he's going to be up near the front, but I just think he should be a little closer. So I think if he just gets a better trip,
Pete, go ahead and talk this. I'm going to let this race show all the way through. It's the 10 and the 9. Again, the 10 and the 9 who are back here.
Yeah,
here's the winner, and here's Al Qudra right here. Go ahead and talk it through, Pete.
Yeah, so if you watch this a bit, and right here, they're not going to do much for a little while, so they're just going to sort of sit here. But they're far enough back to where you're watching it going, okay, are they gonna close into this? Now you got a 45-1 shot and a 10 and a 13 and a 9 on the top. So you hope they can run them down. But let's watch as they start coming a bit. So when they make their move basically together, and it looks like Alcudra's getting the better of the trip just because if you watch here, just gets the jump. So you figure if the horse gets the jump. Now watch what happens here. You see Alcudra's got to turn a little bit here, starts to straighten out. Then that horse comes out a little bit into him. And I think, watch. So even there, but I think Alcudra's would have won right there. I think at least had the lead. Then that 2 horse comes out multiple times and just knocks Alcudra off his path. And then New Century just gets the clear run. Now, again, you don't know what's going to happen. I think sometimes we do that with quote unquote bad trips. We assume a bad trip horse would have done better, and maybe they wouldn't have, but I really like that horse going in. So that was just enough for me to like this horse again, especially like you said, the price is a little low on New Century. And one quick thing in the summer meet, again, I hate to harp on post positions, the 10 through 13. So the 10 out in the summer meet was 2 for, 56 from the 10 to the outside at this configuration. So not the best. And we all like some horses in that 10 to 13 vicinity. So just something to think about where I think this time maybe we can get the better trip with Alcudra.
I have no argument with what you said, but I am going to push back on a few things after Paul, because I do have some intel that is worth sharing. It's not private intel, but it's something that I think everyone at home listening and watching does need to at least take into consideration in this race. Paul, excellent analysis, Pete. Thanks for taking us through that race. Paul, let's talk about your top choice, the number 11. We just watched the replay, Qatar Racing. We haven't really mentioned Andrew Balding. He is an excellent trainer. I mean, there are a lot of really good trainers that are not named O'Brien and Appleby. Andrew Balding is one of them. Oisin Murphy, another really good rider who you saw at Saratoga as well. What do you like about New Century? And Paul, where do you see him in this race? Because if he's got the 11, he's not necessarily a speed horse, but do you just take back with him, or do you try to use him a little bit and gain some position? Paul, I would go with the latter. I don't know what your opinion is.
Yeah, I think in theory, Howard, I agree with you, but I think it is difficult to do that from out there. I'm looking at those picks, and Pete, the replay there just gave me some post-traumatic stress because I forgot that I was supposed to hit that race and didn't. So I think this race, I think the term cluster has been used a few times. But to answer your question, Howard, I do think you're going to see more of a one run out of New Century. It worked last time. I'm not dying to bet him as the favorite, but I also think that this race, the wagering is going to be fairly spread out. And before I turn it over to you, Howard, one horse I will mention that I think ran well last time and light on figures, but I think is going to be a real good price is the 3 Noble Confessor. Again, 76 matching 76 buyer. I definitely think ran better than Zulu Kingdom, who beat him last time. So that'll be my price horse.
Really got shut off there, Paul, right? Got really shut off in the lane because he
ran well, Pete. But now, again, 76, he's got to jump up. And Dream On, who's 20-1 morning line, he was about the only horse who survived that pace meltdown, right, at Woodbine, with New Century and Alcudra coming from way behind. Dream On held for third, which I guess you have to respect. So, this is going to be one of those races. If you're fortunate enough to be alive in the pick 5, guys, you will want to have a wide net, as they say.
Yeah, my caveman ticket's pretty backloaded on the tip sheet. I won't say who's on it, but it's pretty backloaded for this race. I can tell you that much.
All right, Uncle, help us here.
All right. So when I said I have a strong opinion, that means I have a lot of intel. That does not mean I'm going to bet the bank on the 12. I want to make that very clear to everyone. Again, I'm not saying the 12 is like my best play of the weekend. This race is completely wide open. But I got one main question for you guys, okay? Amori City and Alcudra are both Godolphin, right? Most people know, if you don't know, that William Buick is by far first call for Godolphin, okay? James Doyle is an excellent rider. William Buick is one of the best, if not the best rider in the entire world right now. I'm not sure anyone would really argue that. So let me ask you guys a question. If you've got a tie game in a basketball game with 2 seconds left and it comes down to it, would you rather have Steph Curry at the free throw line or just some decent 75% free throw shooter? Guys, there is signal in the noise here, and it just seems very odd to me that Alcudra is not being ridden by William Buick, and they decide to go here. Number one. Number two, Charles Appleby said in an interview, guys, about a month ago that they weren't necessarily going to run Amori City in this race because they already had Alcudra. So now all of a sudden, Amori City is like an afterthought. No, guys, I don't know what's going on in the yard with Godolphin. I have a gut feeling this horse is feeling really good and is going to step up. He might be a little bit slower, but not that much slower. His run 2-back was good and was the only race, guys, around a turn. Now, I know it was a right-handed turn. Obviously, this is left. Maybe this horse wants firm ground and sharp turns. This race is so wide open. I'm going to take a stab with William Buick and Charles Appleby with a horse that I would have thought Buick would have been on Alcudra. And for that reason alone, guys, I'm much more against Alcudra and for Amori City. And in saying that, I could be completely wrong. So that's my diatribe, guys, in this race. Take it or leave it, everyone. That's just my opinion here. I'm not like dying to bet Amori City, guys, but doesn't that feel weird to you, that jockey situation? I know we have to be careful with jockey musical chairs, but this one, guys, really sticks out to me. I'll let you talk about that, and then let's end the show talking about the rail horse, who I think is really interesting.
Well, I would say this, Howard. I think, again, in theory, you make a good point. However, I did see an interview with Charlie this morning, and if you read between the lines, I would say almost certainly had he the benefit of knowing who was going to get which post position, Buick would have been on Alcudra. And he didn't say it quite that directly, but he indicated that the horses were very close, and he is not happy with the post on Amori City. So I agree with you. Would I rather have William Buick? Yes. But are they close enough so that I want the 12 going a mile on turf out there? I don't know. I think that is a mitigating factor, as we say on Law and Order.
The Russ man, 82, agrees with me. And look, guys, he's a little bit slower, but he's improving. And there's so many question marks in this race, guys. Like, I have no desire, if I'm going to bet a win bet, I have no desire to put any money on anyone in this race lower than 5 or 6 to 1. Like, why? I just, who the hell knows, Pete? I know you're a big fan of the American horses, who, frankly, I don't think have a chance in prayer in this race. But if you like one of the Euros, I mean, you could go a lot of different ways. This is just a wide open race.
Yeah, it's wide open. No, this is the toughest race of the sequence for me, I think.
Let's talk about the one, guys, to end the show, because we haven't talked a lot about Japanese horses today. I actually think the better ones are running on Saturday, so we'll talk about them tomorrow. I know host of Pacific Horse Players, Noah Maher, likes Zatono Carnival. I watched his replays, guys. He's 2 for 2. Very interesting jockey story, Paul. I'm sure you know this is a Australian-based female jockey. The first time ever an Australian-based jockey is actually ridden in the Breeders' Cup. I have to admit, I don't know a lot lot of her, but I know she's a solid
She's from
jockey.
England. She is from England, but she's been
rides
riding in Australia. Yeah, Rachel King. She's good.
There's big question marks with Zatono Carnival. First, does he class up? Secondly, he's got to go longer distance, but so do some of the others. But he's sired by Kitasan Black, who is a very, very good Japanese horse. He gets the rail. This horse should show some tactical speed. And you know what, Pete and Paul? He'll probably get a good trip, this horse. So, again, in a wide open field, I think this horse might take some sneaky money, by the way. Sorry, Noah, like 15-1. Why the heck not? I think this horse can be in the money, and I've got this horse as a C and might even move him up to a B right now. And by the way, after this horse, we do need to talk about the Aiden O'Brien horse, Henri Matisse. We'll end with Henri Matisse. But guys, quick thoughts. Do you know anything about Satona Carnival? Is he interesting at all to you guys?
Yeah, I have him as a B. He was pretty close to. He was actually pretty close to making the top 3 for me. I liked his races. Just watching the 2 replays, I sort of liked him. He's in Black actually sired another decent horse called Equinox, who actually ran pretty well. So if this horse can match any of those races, I think the other ones might be in trouble. My biggest worry was you just don't want to get shuffled too far back. I think this horse will be better sitting sort of mid-pack. So as long as he doesn't get a little shuffled, he sort of comes off the pace just a bit. So I think if he gets shuffled way too far back, I think that could be troublesome. But if he's close, I think he could be trouble.
I lied, guys. We got to talk about one more also, and I don't mind going on because this is an important race. Respectfully, guys, I'm not going to take your opinions because I do want to end the show, but Zulu Kingdom is just not very impressive to me. I know it's a Chad. I know it's Flavian. I get all that. You guys brought it up. Noble Confessor, I thought, just ran just as well. And I don't even think Zulu Kingdom was the best horse with anticipation. We talked about that race, guys. The Tenacious Leader, I thought, was actually the better horse who finished second. I'm against Zulu Kingdom. This is an extreme backup. If he wins, I guess I won't be shocked, but this horse is going to take money. I'm just totally against this horse in every way, shape, and form. The last horse I want to talk about is Henri Matisse. I've seen a lot of replays. I can tell you right now, Davy Lane is against this horse. He's goofy as all get out, guys. Yeah. They are taking the blinkers off, which Aiden thinks will help. But from the 13 hole, having to negotiate a tight Del Mar track with that post, I don't care who's riding this horse. I'm a little negative to him. And in the chat, let's see, where is it? Saw Kevin B mentioned, don't you like Henri Matisse then, who whooped my horse, Amori City, 2 back? Kevin, you're exactly right. Henri Matisse, I don't know about whooped. He beat him by 2 lengths, so it's not to carry away here. Henri Matisse beat Amori City on the square. Kevin, you're exactly right. I can't argue that. I have spidey senses that Amori City is going to run a big race, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't like the post for this horse, guys, and this is not the time to be immature and goofy. From the 13 hole, guys, at Del Mar, I'm done. I'm out. You guys have the final say.
Hey, Paul. Yeah, no, I like this horse. I have him, but again, he could be goofy, and I think there is some talent there though, and maybe taking the blinkers back off. I gave the last race a bit of a pass just because of the soft ground, even though he did win on yielding turf, but I thought maybe he just didn't like the ground as much, and like we said, just seems a little bit off. But I think if he puts it all together for whatever reason and under the hands of Moore and Aiden O'Brien, maybe he can. I think he's talented enough to where if he becomes the price horse, I think this race is so wild that this could be one where at the end, it's just a bunch of horses flying at the wire, and whoever gets there first, I mean, obviously whoever gets there first wins, but it'll just be whoever gets the clear run and accidentally just hits the wire first is more where I was going. So that's where I'm looking at.
I have Pete and Paul, you know me, I try to get skinny to some extent and I'm usually pretty firm with my stances. I've got 10 horses in my ABCs right now because there's just so many horses that could win this thing.
I have 10 also. I have 10. I only cut 4.
Okay.
So I'm with you.
All right. Guys, let's get to our best bets and wrap up the show. Again, thank you so much for watching, everyone, and tolerating with my voice. I'm going to rest it up for like 12 hours after, or actually 23 hours, 22 hours, or try to at least. But I got to do that thing called teach. So the students might be watching videos tomorrow, guys, in class.
Show them those Japanese races. See if they can figure them out.
All right, guys. Pete's best bet. Why don't you guys just go ahead and take over for a minute when I show it on the screen? Go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, I kept it a little bit simple in race 8 with the overhyped Lake Victoria. then I just went for a little Dutch Exacta, just a small taste, just in case she gets beat over Scythian. I kind of like Scythian, and I'm hoping that horse stays at a price. And then I did a pick 3. We don't have to go through the numbers. I went Lake Victoria with I went Lake Victoria with Gaming and Chancellor McPatrick just to toss the favorite just for funsies, and then a bunch of horses in the last leg. Go ahead, Paul.
I went with a cold double, Lake Victoria into East Avenue. And yes, I know it's not going to pay much. And yes, I won't be playing it for $2. And then continued that into a pick 3 that would end with Noble Confessor, El Quadra, and New Century. And again, you could be a lot deeper, but really, if you start going 6, 7 deep in pick 3s, you got to hit the pick 3s for more than $1, folks, especially with those first 2 legs. So I'll be trying to make a stand in the first 2 legs, and maybe try to hit like a $20 pick 3 with one of those 3.
Guys, my best bets of Friday, it starts in the Juvenile Fillies with the number 5 Quick Kick, and it's a reverse tri-key. And for those of you that are new to the show that don't know what that is, that means I'm going to put Quick Kick in first, second, and third in 3 separate tickets in the try. So all I need is Quick Kick to finish in the money. But of course, I do have to be right about who's going to be on top when Quick Kick doesn't win, if that happens. And as of right now, I would go with Immersive and American Bikini. I would not have Scottish Lassie on the top of this try. And if Quick Kick is in the money, and I think she's got a great chance to be in the money, realistically, probably more second or third, but I see no reason why she can't, especially if she can be a little more professional. That is a reverse tri-key. And then in race 9, I love Chancer, guys. I really do. I have a ton of respect for East Avenue. Paul, I have a lot of respect for all these horses. I think it's going to set up for him, and he's done absolutely nothing wrong. My only veer will be as if the track is speed favoring, then I might have to change my decision there. But I'm going with Chancellor McPatrick in the Juvenile. Pete and Paul, it's been a great show. I'll let you guys have the final thoughts, and then I will wrap it up.
It's a great day. I'll let Paul let you go last. You're more articulate than me. Friday's always a fun day. We'll try and get started with try and maybe nail this pick 5. Paul, what do you think? And we can carry that money over to Saturday.
I think since I leave for the airport in 8 hours, I need to pack.
Do that.
All right.
Do that.
Sounds good.
Just pack all your horse racings, and don't forget your Troy shirt. Did you wash your Troy shirt?
Oh, the Troy shirt's going to be underneath on Saturday,
okay,
Pete. Don't worry.
Make sure that's there. Yeah,
the Troy shirt's coming.
I mean, he did walk on the track today. It was amazing. It was really amazing to watch him walk on the track today.
He didn't hate the dirt. That's what we're looking for. He did not.
I mean, he didn't fall over on the dirt, so I guess that's a positive.
Might be enough, Pete.
Paul, I look forward to seeing you, my friend, in person in not too long. Pete, great job. Everyone, again, thank you for watching. Our next show here, the 3 of us, is tomorrow night, Wednesday night, 7:30 Eastern. We'll go through the last 5 races. Please watch at 6:30 Eastern tomorrow, Wednesday night. Ben and Boozin covering the first 4 races for the Breeders' Cup on Saturday. For my good friend and co-host, Paul Halloran and Pete Visco, this has been a horse host, Howard Kravitz. Thanks for watching. Crush your bets on Future Stars Friday at Del Mar, the 2024 Breeders' Cup. Take care, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow night. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.